Hey everyone, so if you're a Power BI developer, you know it's an amazing tool, but I'm willing to bet you've also slammed right into its limits. Today, we're going to look at Microsoft Fabric, but not as some giant new thing you have to learn from scratch. Instead, think of it as a set of immediate power-ups for the skills you already have. Let's see how it solves some of our biggest headaches.
Does this sound familiar? You're a wizard in Power Query, you're deep in DAX, you're building these amazing reports, but when you get to those really advanced projects, you just keep hitting the same walls. You love the tool, but you can feel it straining at the seams. And trust me, you are definitely not alone in feeling that.
So let's just talk about those frustrations for a second. Power BI is designed to be this awesome all-in-one tool, from connecting to data all the way to visualization. But for really complex, high-end analytics, some cracks start to show. Let's walk through a few of the most common ones.
First up, complex warehousing. Trying to track historical changes, with slowly changing dimensions. In Power BI alone, it's nearly impossible to do right. Then there's orchestration. How do you make sure your big model only refreshes after your data flows have successfully run? Without some clunky custom workarounds, you just can't. And what about data duplication? You build the perfect date table, and now you have to copy it into every single project, creating multiple versions of the truth. And finally, the big one, that constant, painful trade-off between the lightning speed of import mode and the fresh, live data of direct query. You're always forced to pick one.
Okay, so this is where Microsoft Fabric steps in. And here is the absolute key. Don't think of this as throwing away all your hard-earned Power BI knowledge. You need to think of it as a whole new set of tools that plug right into your existing workflow to solve the very problems we just talked about.
Look, we're not talking about you having to learn data science algorithms by tomorrow. We're focusing on the quick wins, the features with a really low learning curve that you can start using today to make your Power BI solutions more robust, more efficient, and way more powerful.
Let's start with that refresh problem. You know the drill, right? You have a data flow to load your dimension tables, then another one for your huge fact tables, and you absolutely need your Power BI semantic model to refresh only when both of those are done and in the right order.
So enter the data pipeline in Fabric. It's basically an orchestrator. And the best analogy is that it's like an air traffic controller for all of your data jobs. You tell it what to run, when to run it, and what it should do if something succeeds or if it fails.
And as you can see here, it becomes incredibly simple. You can just visually lay it out. First, run the dimensions data flow. If that succeeds, go ahead and run the facts data flow. And only if that one succeeds, kick off the Power BI model refresh. Problem solved. No more crossing your fingers and hoping for the best.
All right, next challenge. Those tricky warehousing scenarios, like slowly changing dimensions. To do that properly, you need a place where you can permanently store and manage your data. You need a real database.
And Fabric gives us two new options for this, the warehouse and the lakehouse. Now for us Power BI folks, you can basically think of both of these as a proper, full-fledged database that lives right inside of Fabric. This is that persistent storage layer we've been missing all this time, a place where we can build robust star schemas and handle all that complex data logic.
Now there are some differences under the hood for sure. A lakehouse can store all kinds of files alongside your tables, while a warehouse is pure structured tables, really optimized for SQL. But here's the thing. From a Power BI perspective, when you're connecting to them, they look and feel very, very similar. They are your new data backend.
So now you've got your data beautifully modeled in a warehouse. You've built a master customer table. That's great. But how do you actually reuse it across multiple projects without duplicating the data and creating a total maintenance nightmare?
The answer is this beautifully simple feature they call a shortcut. Now, a shortcut is not a copy of your data, it's just a pointer. Think of it as a link that lets you access a table from a completely different warehouse or lakehouse, as if it were sitting right there in your current project.
And the concept is really as simple as this slide says. It's exactly like creating a desktop shortcut on your computer. You have one single source of truth, one customer table, one date table, and you can create a ton of shortcuts to it. When you update the original, every single project that uses it sees the changes instantly. This is an absolute game changer for data governance and just being efficient.
All right, let's talk about the Holy Grail. Let's talk about finally breaking that trade-off between performance and how fresh your data is. Because for years, this has been the fundamental choice every single Power BI developer has had to make.
You know the dilemma all too well. You either choose import mode, right? You get that blazing fast performance, but your data is only as fresh as your last refresh.
Or you go with direct query for live up to the second data, but you pay this heavy performance tax with every single click in your report.
So, the huge question is, what if you didn't have to choose anymore? What if you could actually have it all?
And this is Direct Lake. It's a brand new connection mode in Fabric. See, when your data lives in a Fabric lakehouse or warehouse, Power BI can read it directly from the underlying files. It completely bypasses the need to import or constantly query, giving you performance that is nearly identical to import mode, but with data that is always live, just like Direct Query.
So let's just recap these quick wins, your new power-ups. You've got the data pipeline to finally take control of your refresh workflows. You have the warehouse and the lakehouse for real persistent data storage. You've got shortcuts to kill data duplication and create a single version of the truth. And you've got direct lake mode to finally get both incredible speed and live data. Every single one of these directly solves the problem we've been living with in Power BI for years.
You see, these Fabric features aren't just new toys. They are direct solutions to the ceilings you've been hitting. They take the Power BI skills you already have and they elevate them, letting you build more powerful, more reliable, and just flat-out better analytics solutions than ever before. So the only real question is, which one are you going to try first?